We must deliver it. This is regardless of whose interest we touch.
I will leave Nigeria better than I met it, President Muhammadu Buhari promises.
In a season when majority of Nigerians are more concerned with outcomes that reflect their concerns, the best way to serve that interest is through cooperation.
The Red Chamber unveils new principal officers as 9th Senate rolls up its sleeves for legislative business.
And free at last, as police rescue Magajin Garin Dora, Elijah Musa Umar from kidnappers.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we'll discuss the maltreatment of Nigerians abroad.
All right, let's start on a very light note. There's a common joke amongst Nigerians that there is no part of the world where you don't find a Nigerian. Indeed, such a place stands questionable. Of course, Kingsley, that speaks to the fact that Nigerians are among the most traveled in the world.
Well, certainly that's so, but there will be some caveat to that. I'm sure you are unlikely to find Nigerians either in the tactical or in the Arctic region because those regions are damn too cold. But it is true that Nigerians are all over the world and many of them are making an impact in their host countries in several sectors. When you talk of some of the brightest minds in the world, Nigerians certainly rank high.
Well, Kingsley talked about the Arctic. Indeed, that's quite correct. And again, we really do not have the, available data or statistic to show how many Nigerians, of course, are out there. But I can tell you that estimates, of course, put it at millions. And, of course, as diverse as their numbers are. So also are the different stories that trail their sojourn abroad.
Now, a major part of the concern about Nigerians in the diaspora has been the issue of perception and the kind of treatment they receive from their host communities, and in particular, the citizens of other countries.
And there have been reported cases of maltreatment of Nigerians in some countries, of course, some alleged, most, of course, real. And those have generated concerns on why it appears that Nigerians, are being targeted or profiled.
Well, that is not to suggest that some Nigerians, a small percentage of them who are in the diaspora, do not run foul of the laws of the countries where they reside, or that their conduct do not sometimes clash with the cultures and sensitivities of their locale where they're currently earning a living.
And indeed, of course, Kingsley, you do know, under international law, host governments, of course, have a duty to protect every citizen within their jurisdiction and, of course, ensure that the laws of the land, that's, of course, the home country, apply to every infraction as against the jungle justice, of course, that is, allegedly been applied to mostly Nigerians in diaspora.
Well, that's true. Well, in terms of international law, it is not just the host government having a responsibility for catering for their citizens, but indeed for all persons who are resident in such an environment. But as for Nigeria, its citizens' diplomacy agenda mandates the country to use every diplomatic tool to protect the rights of its citizens wherever they are either being maltreated or mistreated. The government, of course, cannot sit down and watch its citizens suffer needlessly.
And we can count many cases, of course, that relate to, I wouldn't use the word alleged because we have real maltreatment of Nigerians abroad. For instance, let's begin with, of course, the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. We have the recent ones happening in Ghana. We see how, of course, recently Kingsley, a professor, of course, was, terminated. A professor in Ghana was terminated, yes, because of, certain statements he made. We also have Nigerians being maltreated in China, Europe, Middle East, America, and so many other countries. And, most of them have cried out that they are unfairly treated by citizens or institutions of their host countries.
Well, there are many questions to ask on account of those many instances of the mistreatment of Nigerians. But one pertinent question to ask is, what are the root causes? And how do the agencies of the host countries respond to those instances of maltreatment, either by citizens or by other agencies? And what role do Nigerian agencies themselves play to ensure that there's justice for victims or that such cases are averted altogether? Those are some of the questions that we shall raise this morning. On that note, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to service. That's the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. And the program, it's Good Morning Nigeria. My name is Kingsley Osadolo.
I am Claire Adilabu Abdul Razak. Always good to have you with us on the program. Don't forget, it's broadcast live on the network service of the NTA, the largest TV in Africa. And we're transmitting from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. As always, complimentary part of the program will be brought to you. Let me just give you a rundown of some of them. Newspaper review, and Bayer will be joining us shortly. Business, sports, foreign, and then we have, hopefully, we'll take arts and entertainment. Comfort Amodu is right in the news studio, ready with the morning news. Good morning, Comfort.
Good morning, Claire and Kingsley. Here's the morning news. President Muhammadu Buhari has again spoken of his commitment to leaving Nigeria far better than he met it. He was speaking at an audience with members of the Buhari Media Organization, whom he tasked to propagate his determination to ending the security challenges facing the country and making it more peaceful and prosperous.
Despite attempts by enemies to twist and bend facts, most Nigerians know the truth. We would continue to intensify our efforts and ensure that our promises to Nigerians are kept and fulfilled. One message that is dear to me, that I urge you to propagate, is that I am determined to end the security challenges we face and make Nigeria a peaceful and prosperous country.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has also reassured Nigerians that his administration will neither fail nor be disappointing regarding its promise of taking the country to the next level. The president, who gave this firm assurance while granting audience to a delegation of the Buhari Support Group Center, vowed to fulfill his genuine national aspirations.
Your interest is the growth and development of our country through good and honest governance, and not personal gains or interests. History will not fail to positively record your contributions.
We congratulate you for standing firm on your fight against corruption, intricate security for the nation, education, health, economic empowerment.
And in the meantime, the Senate has reconvened and announced the names of 8 senators as principal officers. Senator Abdullahi Yahaya is Senate Majority Leader, while Senator Iyinaya Abaribi is Minority Leader. The Senate also set up an ad hoc committee that will produce its legislative agenda.
Possible to engage with all my colleagues, irrespective of what side of the aisle they find themselves.
In a season when majority of Nigerians are more concerned with outcomes that reflect their concerns, the best way to serve that interest is through cooperation and collaboration.
A House of Representatives has called for stricter aviation rules to avert air mishaps in the country. This is sequel to a debate on safety in air travel under matters of urgent public importance during plenary.
Issues relating to instrument landing system, control towers, and our runways. And that is what brought about the present avalanche of mishaps.
The issue of negligence and malfeasance, because a lot of times it's not just the equipment, but it's actually negligence of either the staff, the pilot. And, in law, there's something called vicarious liability. Sometimes this negligence rises to the level of recklessness and rises to the level of manslaughter.
The National Broadcasting Commission is set to switch off analog broadcasting in cities that have migrated to digital broadcasting. Director General of the Commission, Ishak Modibo Kawu, told newsmen in Abuja that Nigeria will make more money as all broadcasting organizations in those cities will only be able to transmit on free TV platforms.
Everybody has to be on the platform. If you're not going to be on the platform, then you're not going to be watched in Nigeria. It's very simple. We're going to prorate the money so that at least you don't pay for where you're watched. And then as we then increase.
Samegu community in Kano metropolitan area is apprehensive following the discovery of the kidnappers then used to keep Magajin Daura Musa Umar, who was kidnapped 3 months ago in Daura town.
This is the superlative, dynamic, as well as well-organized operations coordinated and carried out by Operation Pop Ada, coordinated and supervised by the Inspector General of Police to continue unabated. The Inspector General of Police definitely is going to make address on that.
That's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues shortly with Claire and Kinsley after the break.
One football confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hot Sports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
NTA Television College Jos announces admissions into 2-year diploma programs in film and television production, television engineering, and broadcast journalism. The sale of forms will commence on the 13th of May and run through 30th July 2019. Admission forms can be obtained from all marketing offices, NTA state capital stations, zonal centers, or at the office of the academic secretary, NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos.
On payment of a non-refundable fee of 7,500 naira in bank draft in favor of NTA TV College. Applicants can also obtain the forms through the NTA TV College portal at www.ntatvc.edu.nj.
Applicants are required to possess 5 credits in GCE or SSCE in relevant areas of study in not more than 2 sittings, including English and mathematics. All properly completed forms attached with photocopies of credentials must be submitted on or before 30th July 2019. For further inquiries, please visit our website at ntatvc.com or call 0803-3144-383.
NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
Registrar, Announcer.
There's a smarter way to live with Airtel Binge Plan, the ideal data plan for those heavy data moments. Get a 2 GB daily binge plan for 500 naira. Dial *141# to activate. Live smarter with data.
Airtel, the smartphone network. Our country is filled with people with different skills. And like the game football, we all have a position to play. The midfielders are the ones who bring us together. They help us unleash our potential. To win, we must come together as one team. We must play as Nigeria united.
My name is Baba Kingibe. Chief Abiola was asked by Abacha, and he did give names of people who should join his government.
The annulment, the intrigues, the maneuvers.
I wasn't aware whether he gave my name, but his reaction to me clearly indicated that he didn't give my name. Given the background of general support by MKO Abiola and the party to the Abacha coup, I did not see any reason why I shouldn't be involved.
June 12, The Untold Story. Wednesday, 3rd July 2019, 8 p.m. on NTA Network.
All right, you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Now it's time for us to take some business stories, and here is our correspondent, Kolo Mohammed.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Business News. The value of total capital importation into Nigeria, which stood at $8.485 million in the first quarter of 2019, representing an increase of 216.03% compared to fourth quarter 2018 and 34.61% increase compared to the first quarter of 2018. Data released by the National Bureau of Statistics revealed that the largest amount of capital importation by type was received through portfolio investment, which accounted for 84.21% of the total capital importation, followed by other investment, accounting for 12.91% of total capital inflows. And efforts towards exiting the monoproduct economic concept in Nigeria just gained a fresh boost. The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission says it is working to upward review accruals into the Federation account. This means increasing average propensity to spend, as citizens will be accorded more patronage by the government.
If you want money to go down to a common man, there are so many channels, but the best channels for money to circulate is through the workers, government workers. If you pay them a good salaries, they'll take care of their families, they'll pay school fees, they will do this, they will do that. Definitely, you see, the money will keep flowing, going down to the common man.
A statement by the Managing Director, International Monetary Fund, IMF, Christine Lagarde, says she is honored to have been nominated for the presidency of the European Central Bank. In light of this, she has decided to temporarily relinquish her responsibilities as Managing Director of the IMF during the nomination period. And finally, time now to let you see where activities on the floor of the Nigerian stock market placed market indices. That's business news at this time. See you again soon.
All right, Kolo Mohammed on Business News. Thank you, Kolo. Let's move forward now with newspaper review coming up right now.
Our newspaper reviewer, Baya Tib, is right here with us in the studios. Baya, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Kinsley. Good morning. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, Claire, let's begin. Let me start off with the Leadership newspaper, which is one of the two papers I have. Leadership newspaper, below the nameplate, foreign investment to Nigeria rises to $8.5 billion. And the late story says 2019 elections reflected will of Nigerians, and that's attributed to President Muhammadu Buhari. There are three riders to that headline. Says, that's President Muhammadu Buhari now, that next level requires formidable team. Police arrest 58 high-profile electoral offenders as INEC renews call for Electoral Offences Tribunal. Magajin Geri Daura regains freedom after 60 days in kidnappers' den. That story is on the front page and it continues on page 4. And then right at the foot of the front page itself, you have 4 headlines. Lawyers seek review of judges' salaries. That's page 8. Senate orders firm to install CCTV at airports. UK and Norway pledge support for Nigeria's oil and gas sector, page 30. And maritime workers to shut down ports. That's page 26.
All right, let's look at the front page of the Daily Trust. And it has a lead story right there, how Magajin Gerindara was rescued. And the writer says, victim in Abuja for medical checks, and there's jubilation in Daura. That's the second writer there. And there's a very graphic description of the kidnap, and of course from kidnap to rescue. And you can find all the details there, from kidnap to rescue, 63 days in captivity. And of course, the points there, the graph there tells us, of course, where he was housed, or where he was held captive, and of course, how he was rescued. And the trending stories at the bottom: Senate probes fan over poor security at airports. Details of that on page 7. And FRSC, 37 killed, 101 injured in Benue tanker explosion. The details of that on page 6. And capital importation rose by 216% to hit $8.49 billion in first quarter. You can find the details of that on page 17. Let me take you a little below the nameplate. And trending stories say, Lawan's men get Senate leader, chief whip, and others. It's on page 3. You can find the details. And again, Buhari, I require formidable team to deliver. Find the details on page 3. Bayo.
Yes, let's start with the good news in Daura. The Magajingeri of Daura has been rescued from the gunmen that took him away since 1st of May. Family sources and police have confirmed that Alhaji Musa Omoru had been released. 4 gunmen, it may be recalled, stormed his residence and took him away on 1st of May. He was brought to Abuja yesterday and he was rescued in Kano. Daily Trust has featured the demolition of the house where the Magajingeri was ensconced in Kano. There were tears of joy for his rescue. He is a cousin of the Emir of Daura, Alhaji Farouk Umar. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has indicated that there is enormous work to be done in the next 4 years. And he added that he will use a formidable team to implement his program. He told visiting Buhari Media Organization yesterday that he will take Nigeria from the old order towards the next level. He described the Buhari Media Organization as a key asset, particularly in his re-election bid. They were led by Chairman Niyi Akesuji. Meanwhile, Daily Trust has reported that 21 ministerial nominees have been cleared by the Department of State Services. And you recall that President is talking about the formidable team. The lists are required to be transmitted to the Senate for screening and confirmation as required by the Constitution. The screening is said to have been going on discreetly. The President is also saying that he will depend on this team to move the nation forward. The twin chambers of the National Assembly are to resume today. And the questions of who gets what by position of principal officers has also come up. The Senate will choose a Senate leader, chief whip, deputy Senate leader, and deputy chief whip. The minority party is reported to have designated a minority leader, and as well as the minority chief whip and deputy. The party is speculated to want to change its mind on the deputy minority whip, and that is causing some ripples. At the House of Reps, party chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, has indicated that a ranking member of the House from the Northwest is likely to be designated as the party leader in the House. This is to favor Kano, and he says this is because of the tremendous contribution of Kano to the success of the party. The principal officers of the majority party and minority party are usually nominated or selected or appointed by the political party caucuses.
And I have a question,
yes,
because I've gone through the list, and I discovered that not a female is among the principal officers, and I'm wondering, was that deliberate?
I cannot speak for them. It is a caucus thing, And the caucus is party members within the House. I think presently the representation is along three parties, the All Progressive Congress, the People's Democratic Party, and I think it's...
was it Y something?
Yes.
There's YPP.
YPP,
Yeah.
where you have Uba there. So he too will be the minority leader for his own single party. But the appointment or nomination is always done within the party caucuses.
Yeah, but the Senate yesterday already had its principal officers unveiled. That was at the resumption of plenary. The parties, of course, submitted the list of their preferred officers for those positions. The majority leader going to the Northwest, the minority leader for the PDP, because it has more in terms of more in number as a minority party. It went to the Southeast. That's Inaya Baribe, is a ranking senator, by the way, former deputy governor of Abia. And then the chief whip, who of course is of the majority party, went also to the Southeast. Incidentally, again, also to Abia. That's former governor Ojus Okalu. He and Inaya Baribe are sitting in the same chamber now. And they had a bust-up when Ojukalu was governor and Abaribe was deputy governor and unceremoniously removed. But they'll have to work together now in the Senate. And then the minority whip is the FCT senator, that's Aduda, who's represented. Of course, you have other issues. The thing is for them to now get down to business and start to work. Yes, that's it. The other story that we read, I mean, the headline is different from what I read. Claire, you were reading the story from FAN. What I read here from leadership says, Senate orders FAN to install CCTV at airports.
This is Senate probes FAN over port security at airports.
Yeah, but assuming it is an order being given to FAN, we should ask ourselves, CCTVs they are part now of the furnishing, of an airport. Or even public buildings. So does any person require any compulsion to do that and to install that in the first instance?
Well, the Senate apparently has observed a vacuum that probably it is not there, or if it is there, it's not functioning.
Absolutely. Why was it not functioning? That's the key issue.
It should be made to be functioning.
And then there is also some curiosity about the traditional ruler, that's the district head of Daura, who was rescued yesterday by the police authorities. I say curiosity in the sense that following his abduction on the 1st of May, no contact appeared to have been made with the family members. Usually, if it was a case of kidnap for ransom, contact would have been made and, amounts indicated, and then there might have been negotiations and in most cases, payment. But in this case, there seemed to have been no word from the kidnappers. So and that's for the security agencies to unravel, what was the purpose of the kidnap? Was it for ransom or was it for what? I mean, the luck has run out of them, and kudos to the security agencies for busting that particular crime. But it's a point of curiosity that for 2 months he was a captive. Yes.
Yes, it's a defeat by the Inspector General's special SARS team that took the initiative to trace, track, and track down the location in Kano. Certainly, they must have been following discreetly, and they deliberately probably did not put it in public domain. And that was why there was little or no information about whether there were demands for ransom or whatever. But the good news is that it's been released.
Yes, we have other stories.
Yes, I have Nigerian Pilot. Let's take a few stories from the front page of Nigerian Pilot. The lead story is on the 2019 elections. That's the kicker. We fought a good fight, attributed to President Buhari. Won the race. Next level requires formidable team committed to ending insecurity. Above that, two other headlines. We are building a corrupt-free government in Bauchi, says Governor Bala. That's page 13. 10, that's taxpayers' identification number. Buhari directs CBN, NIMSI, that's Identity Management Commission, and data agencies to work with JTB, and that's attributed to Vice President Oshibajo. JTB stands for Joint Tax Board. We didn't spend 757.48 billion naira on roads still in disrepair. That's attributed to the federal government, the particular officer speaking, details of which can be found on page 11. We didn't spend 7.48 billion on roads still in disrepair. We must address impunity and instill discipline in the electoral process. That's according to INEC. One other headline there, poverty and insecurity top 9th Senate agenda, and Bakassi youth threatened showdown with federal government over ceded territory.
All right, I don't know if I should link sports with it, but you would want to...
I want to talk about Super Eagles?
Yes. Okay. The sports story is taken from the Nigerian Tribune, and of course it's on page 3, and it's a developing controversy, I would like to say, that is being stirred up by, of course, the former, Super Eagles coach, Westerhoff, and it's right there. It's saying that Raw was wrong on the Eagles' tactics. Apparently, of course, tactics during the match between Madagascar, which of course that was a woeful loss.
Well,
I was pained.
Is opinion by experts. However, they now have to get their tactics right because the Super Eagles are to play the Lions of Cameroon at the knockout stage for the round of 16. This is as a result of the outcome of some of the matches yesterday between Benin Republic, Cameroon, and all of them. Nigeria and Cameroon have played the finals of AFCON 3 times. Cameroon has been 5 times champion. Nigeria has been 3 times champion. The Cameroonians are beatable. You recall that the 2018 during the FIFA World Cup, the Super Eagles beat the Lions of Cameroon 4-0 in the nest of champions in Uyo. Therefore, the Cameroonians are beatable. But however, we need to be very cautious. It's a question of strategy.
I was listening to the cameraman here, lying in front of me, and when they were having a conversation of this, and he said, look, he was telling the other cameraman, look, the Cameroonians are not informed.
They are not informed.
They are not informed.
Okay.
So, Kingsley, I know you are the...
I have no opinion on this. When 19 minutes will decide.
Yes.
I want to get exaggerated, in terms of projections as to what the Super Eagles might perform, and they might get disappointed. Or they just might, otherwise surprise us. So when they clash, we'll see the outcome.
I said here the last time we had a guest here that we have the knack of playing ourselves into trouble positions, trouble situations. And I don't know. Well, Nigeria, Cameroon, like Kingsley said.
Nigeria, Ghana, all the same. We are in the tournament. We are in for it. Let's be optimistic.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If we had topped the group, it might have been easier. So it's crunch time.
There is this human interest story I want to draw attention to. A body of a stowaway man on Kenya Airways plane fell from the plane as the plane was 2 minutes to landing at Heathrow. The body fell into the garden of somebody who was relaxing by the swimming pool 1 meter away from him. And the police came and they found out that the chap had probably stayed away in the landing gear. And when the plane came and dropped its landing gear, the body dropped. And the body was intact because it had frozen. It was, in fact, an ice block. So this is the danger involving people staying away. You remember there was a young man who did something like that from Calabar to Lagos.
No, it was from Benin. From
Benin to Lagos.
Benin Airport, yes.
Benin Airport to Lagos,
yes.
Luckily for him, the flight is just under 1 hour, so there was not much of a problem. But when you have to travel by air from Kenya through the atmosphere to temperate climate in Europe, you can't expect to... Temperatures are below zero in the atmosphere.
How do they beat security?
Temperatures are usually minus. I mean, by the time a plane gets into a higher altitude, 35,000 feet and so on and so forth, it's always minus. I mean, if you, on the screen in front of you, you can see these days, the temperatures are usually indicated.
Yes.
So that's, there is no way the housing wheel will not crush a stowaway in the first instance. It's one of the most foolish things anybody can ever embark upon. Some of that's, that's a bit more difficult now. They get themselves into the cargo hold. But it's a bit more difficult, yes. So survival rates are higher in the cargo hold, yes. But certainly not in the housing wheel. It's, as you said, once the wheels were projected, then
There's nothing to hold him back. He'll drop.
Yes. So probably will be given a proper.
It baffles me how
proper burial.
How they beat the security to do that.
All right, let's take our editorial. It's also from Leadership newspaper. Leadership newspaper at page 3. That's the editorial. Uniting against all forms of insecurity. Editorial kicks off as follows. Perhaps the greatest fear in the country today is that of being kidnapped. The phenomenon is so rife that no one feels safe, even in one's home. And the editorial adds that while it is pertinent to seek divine intervention in matters like this, we also insist that it must be clearly understood that the crime situation is essentially human and must be treated as such. The authorities, in their utterances and nuances, owe themselves a duty to inspire hope and confidence in the citizens.
Well, the editorial is saying kidnapping is the greatest fear in the country today. And he says that the impunity and bravado with which it is gone about by the criminals leaves everybody perturbed. And he says that it is affecting the economy, particularly, especially in the area of agriculture, where people who go to farm have become victims of abductors and kidnappers. And he says that the criminality has no ethnic, religion, trade, or any kind of sentiments about it. This recall what the Sultan of Sokoto said just 2 days ago. He says insecurity continues to linger because it is politicized. The Sultan said that why should people bring in religion, ethnicity, regionalism, and even personal interest about the collective good of the country in the face of security challenges? He says that it is time to say enough is enough to all the mindless killing before it consumes everybody. He laments that we are a country where everybody on social media sees nothing good is coming out of the nation. But I tell you, Nigeria is a beautiful country. And he even asks, there is no country that is as good as Nigeria in the whole wide world. That is very reassuring, but the editorial is harping on the fact that criminality must be treated as criminality and not given any other correlation. And therefore, there is a need to give support to the federal government, the state government, so that hands can be joined together to end this criminality that is holding everybody to ransom.
All right, Kingsley, in the absence of any other comments from you, Bayo, we'd like to thank you as always.
Thank you too.
We'll see you tomorrow by the grace of God. All right, this is Good Morning Nigeria. We are set to begin our conversation, and it's a very, touchy one. It affects you, it affects every Nigerian, and it's on maltreatment of Nigerians in the diaspora. Join us again.
Our country is filled with people with different skills. And like the game football, we all have a position to play. Some save the day. They put themselves on the line for the others. They are the goalkeepers. To win, we must come together as one team. We must play as Nigeria united.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Our country is filled with people with different skills. And like the game football, we all have a position to play. And the strikers, they are the go-getters. They break barriers and steal the show. To win, we must come together as one team. We must play as Nigeria United.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, invites all secretaries to state government, permanent secretaries, heads of cabinet affairs offices in the Southwest Geopolitical Zone, consisting of Osun, Ondo, Oyo, Ekiti, and Lagos states, to the first in the series of the regional meetings for Secretaries of Cabinet Affairs offices, which is a follow-up meeting to the outcome of the maiden meeting held in the second quarter of 2019 in Abuja for secretaries to state government, permanent secretaries, heads of Cabinet Affairs offices. The meeting is designed to, among other things, develop a synergy between the Cabinet Affairs offices at the federal and state levels in order to develop a framework for a community practice. The follow-up meeting is scheduled to hold as follows. Date Thursday, July 4th, 2019. Time 9:45 a.m. Venue, Sheraton Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos. Announcer, Babatunde Lawal, Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
All right, thank you for joining us. If you've just tuned in, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and we are broadcasting live on Africa's largest TV network, the NTA in Abuja. Let's begin, of course, with our background report, and it's on the maltreatment of Nigerians abroad. Victor Azo has it.
Nigerians are some of the most traveled people in the world, and many have emigrated to other parts of the world. Although there is no verifiable data of the number of Nigerians abroad, many believe they are in millions and have been contributing significantly to the development of their host countries and Nigeria. Annually, they are believed to remit over $23 billion back home and have become a major resource for Nigeria to utilize for development. However, the issue of their well-being has continued to be significant, as some have been involved in unpleasant circumstances where they are allegedly maltreated. As a result, many have lost their investments, some have been jailed, and others even said to have been killed. This has given the Nigerian government concerns as it continues to reflect upon and pursue the citizen diplomacy. As the cases show, some alleged maltreatments are not results of any bad conduct of Nigerians in diaspora, but a situation where they are caught up in hostilities. In other cases, however, some Nigerians in diaspora have been caught on the wrong side of the law of their host countries, thereby resulting in unfavorable consequences. Recent cases of Nigerians allegedly maltreated in Ghana, Togo, South Africa, and in Libya, where Nigerians have been sold into modern-day slavery, forced labor, and forced prostitution, to mention a few. The questions arising will therefore include: have Nigerians in diaspora indeed been unfairly treated? If yes, what are the causes? What has been the response from host authorities to redress these alleged violations? How has the Nigerian government responded? What will be the solution to this development? These are some of the questions that guests already seated in the studios will attempt to answer.
Thank you, Victor Azu. Indeed, we have, as always, good representation of our guests right here in the studio. Let me begin, of course, with the introductions. To my left, that will be to your right. We have here with us Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, Chairman, CEO of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, and, of course, an opportunity for us to say congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Also here with us in the studio is Nigeria's former High Commissioner to Pakistan, also with concurrent accreditation to Afghanistan and the Maldives, It's a pleasure to have you, Excellency. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, madam. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right. With us in the studios here, we would like to also welcome Mr. Madu Obiora. Mr. Madu Obiora is based in Cote d'Ivoire. Mr. Obiora, pleasure to have you with us on the program.
Good morning,
Okay.
Nigerians. Good to be
we hope to be joined later on in the conversation by another guest via Skype to also shed light on this phenomenon. Let's bring in first the chairperson of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Bike Dabiri Erewa. From time to time, there are reports of the maltreatment or mistreatment of Nigerians, and in some cases, you've had to also step in even before the creation of the commission. In general, what picture can be sketched of the treatment received by some Nigerians in some countries?
Well, that's very general. And what we do, we treat cases as they occur. And from what you've shown, let's go at some instances. Excuse me. The case of South Africa has been on for a long time. We're talking of xenophobic attacks against blacks. What happened to my voice?
Sorry. You need some tea or coffee?
Please, can you have a cup of
NTA tea? Don't worry. I'm fine.
Okay.
All right. So, in the case of South Africa, I mean, that's been on for a while. Xenophobic attacks against Africans in South Africa. The president was here to meet President Buhari, and he said they are embarrassed about what is going on there, and they'll do everything to stop it. And then sometimes, when it's time for elections, these things, have a way of rearing their heads. Now, in South Africa, with the intervention in particular of Mr. President, we have 4 policemen arrested. 4 policemen in court on trial for the alleged involvement in maltreatment of some Nigerians abroad. That has never happened. So that is a step South Africa has taken. And then we have some other cases of some people that are already in court. But again, in South Africa, we have some cases of Nigerians actually killing Nigerians. So we have some cases of drug cult wars, that is also very embarrassing to us. And so we break them down. But the key thing is that our mission in Joburg is actually doing a great job. They monitor the cases, they go to court, and we're waiting to see what happens. And at the same time, we always made it clear that it's not acceptable to us. Like the case of Ghana that you also showed. I was with the High Commissioner here, and, the matter stopped. Recall that some time ago, President Buhari again met the president of Ghana in New York and complained about the closure of about 400 shops belonging to Nigerians. They are saying there is one law or the other. But whatever the case, the president, with President Buhari's intervention, actually opened those shops. And the recent one, another market attack, had to do with Ghanaians being angry that kidnappings occurred in their country. 5 Ghanaians were involved with 3 Nigerians, and out of anger, they just went to attack those shops. Again, we put up a big protest, and the High Commissioner assured us that the President of Ghana himself had intervened. The Inspector General of Police arrested some people. I think 2 people were arrested. But why we'll tell Nigerians, please behave yourselves wherever you find yourselves. Obey the laws of that country. We'll at the same time not accept. Number 2, we won't accept generalization of criminalization. So if you commit a crime, deal with that person, arrest that person. Don't go saying, oh, you're a Nigerian, I'll attack you. The same thing in Togo, where some Togolese guy and his girlfriend had an affair, had a quarrel. Then the next thing, they went to attack some Nigerians. Again, we are the Togolese High Commission, and I think another person has been arrested in that regard. So we don't want to generalize. It happens in some cases, but wherever it happens, we always intervene. And I keep saying we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we have a whole lot of the good who are doing great things all over the world. And we are going to ensure that we tap into those enormous human resources we have as Nigerians. So as we go on, as the cases come, we deal with them.
Okay, I'd just like for us to see if we can compartmentalize, these treatments. If we can see if there's a trend. If we look at from what is happening in South Africa down to, West Africa, for instance, Ghana, South Africa, and then we look at the form of maltreatment in Europe, in Asia, wherever. Is there a connection? Is there a link? Is there a trend?
No, I I would not want to say there's a trend. I don't know how others see it. I would not. That's why I say let's treat each case as it arises. You know, when you talk about Europe, again, there are specific cases we get and we deal with them. Take in Malaysia, for instance, where we have issue of drugs concerning some Nigerians. You know, when they get them arrested, you know, some countries are very tough on these things, and they say it's their law. You understand what I'm saying? So let's be specific about the cases. But we keep saying that, okay, if you get a drug peddler or something, arrest that person, deal with him. But do not generalize or criminalize all Nigerians. So we don't accept that stereotype. And when you say, when one person commits a crime, I will give you 10,000 that are doing great things in that particular country. So I don't accept that generalization or stereotype. But as they come, as the cases come, we deal with them. If it has to do with you're treating our citizens in a terrible way. You know, the average Nigerian is energetic. The average Nigerian is an entrepreneur. You know, the average Nigerian, you know, takes on challenges. So in some cases, especially in some parts of Africa, they might see this how you are taking the jobs, our jobs. But we say they're doing jobs that maybe you are not doing. So I would not generalize, but I'll just tell you that based on the instruction of Mr. President, where these things occur, we intervene. And more often than not, we succeed. And one thing we're also trying to do, we look at cases of Nigerians in various prisons abroad. We're going to look at those that, there are some cases with minor offenses. Some have overstayed their visas or something. So we're going to look at them holistically and see those that can be resolved diplomatically. But for those who have committed serious crime, there's nothing we can do. Like in Saudi Arabia, I think we have about 20 people on death row. About 8 have been executed. But you see, the point is that those ones on death row that found drugs on their bodies, there's really nothing you can do. Some were in their anus and their private parts. But there are some that, okay, you carry cola nuts or something. So we're going to work on something that will make us intervene in some of these cases and see what can be resolved diplomatically. In South Africa, there's a guy who just could not pay for he couldn't meet the bill conditions, a matter of money, and we got in touch with the Nigerian community there, the embassy. We raised funds and we got him out. So there are little cases we can solve, so we're going to do a lot more of that. But at the same time, Nigerians, just behave yourselves wherever you are. But the key thing is we have a lot of Nigerians doing great things all over the world, and very few are getting into trouble.
All right, let's bring in His Excellency, Nigeria's Summer High Commissioner to Pakistan with concurrent accreditation to the Maldives and Afghanistan. The issue of profiling and therefore stereotyping, they will say, these Nigerians. What informs that, and therefore the kind of reactive behavior you find from host countries?
Thank you very much. Perhaps I will try to address it a little bit holistically. Perception has to do with how Nigerians are mistreated or maltreated abroad. The pervasive corruption in the country has tarnished the image of Nigeria over the past few years. Subsequently, the perception of an average Nigerian abroad is that of a corrupt and dubious individual. And that, to a large extent, has contributed to the mistreatment and maltreatment of Nigerians abroad. Now, another factor, perhaps when you look at the number of Nigerians in prisons in various parts of the world, there was this report in 2018 by the Patriotic Citizens Initiative, a civil society organization, that said about 170,000 Nigerians are in prisons across the world. They also allege that about 6,000 of those inmates are awaiting death penalties. The report further went on to state that in China alone, about 8,000 Nigerians are in various jails. And most of those that are in jails, some are on drug-related offenses, others are on just travel and immigration offenses. And while majority, the report states that is based on shoddy investigations, trump-up charges, and lack of adequate legal representation for these Nigerians. Now, the report went further, very disturbing, went further to say that Nigerians are subjected to inhuman conditions. Those that inmates do disappear in a manner suggestive of extrajudicial killings, especially in China. That Nigerian prisoners are also denied medical treatment and subjected to all kinds of human rights violations. Now, this figure perhaps could have also contributed to the perception of Nigerians by the international community. The chairperson of the Diaspora Commission, I want to commend this government for actually bringing in this commission, has stated the efforts of government to address some of these challenges. But within the African continent, Nigeria has played a key role in stabilizing most of the African countries. And one begins to wonder why issues like xenophobia, which is extreme hate and violence against foreigners, is meted out to Nigeria and South Africa. The issue of Ghana that she has mentioned is quite disturbing. And let me just say this, that in Asia, my experience is that there are some countries, because of deep suspicion of Nigerians, on arrival at the airport, they are subjected to all kinds of humiliation. They are required to fill biodata forms, and these forms have to be submitted to the nearest police station where they'll be staying. And at the end of their stay in that country, they have to go back to the police station, collect that form. It is a kind of police clearance for them to exit that country. We don't do this to other nationals. Diplomacy is based on reciprocity. And when you look at the issue of maltreatment of Nigerians, it's coterminous with the issue of image, the image of the country. And when you talk about the image of a country, it's an aggregation of so many factors. The issue of good governance, which deals with the enforcement of the rule of law, justice, equity, fairness, the issue of security, the level of corruption in the country, the level of criminal activities in that country, the level of foreigners in that country. You look at another factor is the issue of, infrastructure, the economy. But we must commend the present federal government, because since the assumption of office of President Muhammadu Buhari, he has sent a clear message to the international community that this government has zero tolerance for corruption. And that has earned him accolades from the international community. And at the same time, it has to a large extent restored the dignity of Nigeria. And as you can see, doors have been opened. Countries that don't want to sell arms to us are now selling arms to us. There have been a lot of donations from the European Union, etc. But the basic principle is that Nigeria is a treaty to the Vienna
Convention.
Consular rights service. The provision of consular right is a right. And the Constitution of Nigeria said every citizen has the right to fair hearing. It did not say within Nigeria, which means as we travel abroad, the green passport succinctly captures it in the name of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay, let's pause you for a while because you're already getting deeper into our conversation. We have another guest joining us via Skype from Lagos, Adetola Olubanjo, and of course he's another Nigerian in the diaspora, I think in South Africa. Mr. Olubanjo, thank you for joining us from Lagos. But let me also quickly put this question to you. The fact that we're having this conversation means, of course, that this is a developing situation, and at such an increasing and alarming, rate. So, from your experience, what kind of treatment or perception, do you get, from, of course, from those in South Africa where you have been?
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much. The perception is actually not encouraging because the Nigerians that are actually in South Africa are not treated well. and it's not in news due to occurrence that are those things that have been occurring. But the fact is that not only Nigerians are being attacked or experiencing xenophobic attack in South Africa. We will be lying to say that it's just only Nigeria. But the issue is that we are not actually responsive like the other nationals have been. And that is the reason why that we have actually been a soft target. Vis-a-vis the fact that our people are engaging in some various activities also. That is actually not helping us as Nigerian citizens in South Africa. But we believe that with the establishment of this NIDOCOM, the Diaspora Commission, which their core function will be to actually focus on Nigerians in diaspora, we'll be able to address some of these issues because there are quite a number of reasons why Nigerians are sent back home in a body bag. There are deliberate, there are random, there are cases of Nigerians allegedly killing themselves. But the most important thing is that Nigerians are dying, and we need to actually address that. And those who are actually engaging in these activities, that is the Nigerians that are actually allegedly killing themselves, they are known to the community, and it's very, very easy to solve if the community as well as the government officials as well as the government can come together to actually tackle this this issue of Nigerians allegedly killing Nigerians. And the issue of xenophobic attack, there are systemic, wherein if you're a Nigerian, you won't get what the help you are supposed to get there. Even our professionals, those who are engaging, who are actually contributing a lot to the country, you see them actually being maltreated, using the system to actually, sometimes they even block them out of system. And we see issue of extrajudicial killing, which is on the rise. The last 1 month, we have had 3 extrajudicial killing, and then 7 of Nigerians have been killed by unknown assailants. So we believe that all of us have to work together now and send a strong signal. Thank you that the Excellency in the studio was actually alluding to the fact that it's a case of reciprocity. If we don't do anything, this thing will continue. I can cite an example of this issue of repatriation money when they were collecting from Nigerians, huge amount of money. Nigerian government rose up to the occasion, and South African government doesn't have choice than to actually abolish it. So our people are not being extorted, unlike before, wherein you have to pay a huge amount of money. So something has to be done because we don't know who is next as we speak.
All right, Adetola, I'll stay with you in Lagos, where you're joining us via Skype. His Excellency Ambassador Danladi did itemize some factors which, in his opinion, feed the profiling of Nigerians. You've mentioned one, which is to say that some Nigerians or a few Nigerians engage in nefarious activities. Otherwise, what are the other factors, say in South Africa, why your hosts tend to maltreat you or do not give you the best in terms of reception and opportunities?
I mean, it's every other factors. Is the issue of loudness of our people. For example, we know that our people are very, very loud, and they don't even enjoy their wealth without infringing on the right of the others in the area of noise and the way we actually display our hard-earned money. And then in most cases, these things are very, very strange to the host community. Not to forget the fact that South Africans have a very, very violent past, and the way they react and solve their issues is quite different from the way we do. And this is actually fueling it as well, because they believe that we are arrogant and also very, very, very loud. And this is not, it's very strange to them per se. Sometimes when we argue, we are not fighting. They see it as an argument, and before you know it, the police is around. So we believe that if deliberate orientation of our people, that when you go to Rome, you have to behave like a Roman. You need to actually learn the way they do their things. It will help a lot. Among other things, it's just this issue of this perception that majority of Nigerians are actually engaging in drug businesses, which is actually very wrong, because if you have to look at where Nigerians are situated, they are in every part of the country. Like myself, I've lived in 3 provinces before. I've worked there in remote area, and you'll see Nigerians there. But the few places that are notorious where those few Nigerians are perpetrating this crime are known to both the government and then the host locals. It's actually what we have been calling for has actually been that there should be prosecution, investigation and prosecution of these cases. It cannot be correct that 140-something Nigerians will have been killed for the last 30 months, and we cannot get a prosecution out of it. Because South Africa has a high prosecution rate, over 90%. Every year on year, they always solve their cases, no matter how difficult it is.
All right, Olubajo, just before we lose Skype connection with you, let's explore this opportunity again to look at, is there a sense in which the action or inaction of our missions, for instance, in South Africa, have, helped to shape what Nigerians do or do not do, and of course how, the host, people have also responded to their actions?
I don't understand that question.
Is there a sense in which failure on the part of our missions to act or to respond have fueled, the situation or the resentments by host communities?
Yes, because the mission needs to do more than what they are doing now. Because if there is this proactiveness and a strong signal being sent, I want to believe that this issue of systemic way of systemic xenophobia, extrajudicial killing, and so on, like I said before, that is not only Nigerians. Other nationals are also having their own share, but they actually stand very firm. I'll give example of Mozambique. I'll give example of Ghanaians. They cannot be touched the way Nigerians are being touched, because their government will not, they have zero tolerance for such. But the way these things are being handled by the government officials and the missions as we speak is actually not helping to curb or to reduce this attack, because it cannot be a one-way thing. Everybody has to, irrespective of our differences, we have to be very professional about it, sit down, because we have our own parts to play. They have their own parts. And then we need to come together and have a concerted effort to be able to confront this, because there are some intelligence, there's some information that is at the disposal of common people. Like I said, those who are perpetrating this crime, the Nigerians on Nigerians, we know them. It is not a secret. Some of them are even seen around these government officials. But there is no way one can be able to solve this problem if all of us are not actually saying no to them. They are well known in the community. There is no doubt about that. And there are some people also that are actually in prison. There are some Nigerians that have been jailed in prison, and you see them at every point in time using some Nigerians and locals to actually extort money from Nigerians within the community there. And when those Nigerians resist such extortion, they resort into violence. Many have been killed. Just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, someone was killed also in his business just because they asked for money and he's not giving. And so all these things are there, which I think some of those information are not accurate, are not being reported the way it's happening. And then that is actually fueling the killings, because the killing of Nigerians on Nigerians is very, very on the rise now. The terror within the Nigerian community is something that our government needs to actually look at, because this narrative and perception that if a Nigerian killing a Nigerian is good, there is nothing wrong in it, it's not correct. They are perpetrating the crime on the soil of South Africa. Therefore, our government needs to come hard on these people also, because they are making that community not safe for us. And if we continue to allow them, based on our differences, we will not be able to achieve anything. So I want to say that the government officials that are in South Africa, both in Pretoria and Johannesburg, they need to do more in making sure that this thing did not persist. And we should not sugarcoat it. When it is killing, we call it killing. When it is xenophobia, we call it xenophobia. When it is nefarious, we call it. We should call it the way it is, so that we can be able to know the medicine that we are going to use to solve it. And I believe that Honorable Abike Dabiri, being the chairperson with her experience, she has actually hit the ground running, and I expect that more of our presence will be felt in South Africa, because we really need help. It's a case of SOS now.
All right, Adetola Olubajo, thank you very much there for your comments. We will return to you subsequently in the course of the conversation. You raised a number of very important points and also touched on one of the issues that we'll be raising with the other guests here in the studios. But just by the way, you're asking the Nigerian government to extraterritorially enforce the criminal laws of South Africa. That isn't possible. So that's the major challenge that we would have. So if crime is committed on South African soil, South African authorities have jurisdiction and they will deal with it accordingly. So Nigerian violence menace, a problem to be dealt with, but also the maltreatment of Nigerians by their hosts is an issue that is the fulcrum of our conversation this morning. Madu Obiora, of course, you've been listening to all of this. You are based in Côte d'Ivoire. In telling us what the experience of Nigerians have been, with their Ivorians, but just also answer this question. Why is it, probably it's accusatory, but why is it difficult for us, wherever we are, to behave like Romans in Rome?
Thank you. It's not that we don't behave like Romans when we are in Rome, but Nigerians, we have more of our professionals abroad. Wherever you see a Nigerian, he must show you, I am a Nigerian. They see us as proud people. They see us as being ahead of them. I've been in a situation where you see people coming and they are checking their passports. When he got to my point, the man checked, and when he saw green passport, he said, "You proud Nigerians, just move by the side." They see us as people who knows, who excel in their business. It's about extreme hate. It's about seeing Nigerians as people who are proud. There's nothing you can do to make them feel you've done enough, And we Nigerians, we like to show that we are Nigerians. We like to show who we are. We like to show our professionalism, So to that extent, they see us as you coming to take over from them. You coming to showcase your talent. You coming to show your popularity, in Africa and other parts of the world. So that amounts to hate, extreme hatred to Nigerians.
Well, there's also a saying, sorry for me to jump in here, they say, look, you stoop to conquer. So why is it difficult for some Nigerians to be humble in their new abode?
Like Honorable Abike said, we have the good, we have the bad and the ugly. Yes, it's difficult for some Nigerians to stoop to conquer, When they come to various countries, they are there to make it. They are there to. We are not going there to maybe sell wristwatches by the roadside. We move to countries to show them who we are, what we are, like Nigerians. So when we go out there, they see us, like I earlier said, they see us as proud people. They see us as people coming to tell them what they know. They see us or what they don't know, So with that, it's not that we don't have good Nigerians. We have good Nigerians everywhere. We have Nigerians who excel in their business. We have professionals everywhere. But doing all these things, they still look at us as coming to tell them what they don't know, coming to prove to them that we are Nigerians,
You know, Kingsley, just before I bring in Honorable Abike Dabiri, I equally, just to relate with what he said, I was in, I think it was in Yamoussoukro sometime, ago, and of course we went for, ECOWAS program, and one of the guards there, was trying to conduct how we moved. And it got to my turn, and it was like, he spoke in French, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak French. I speak in English. He said, you Nigerian? I said, yes, I'm a Nigerian. Of course, I heard what he said. I didn't just want to speak French. I said, and he said, I should move to the other side. And I said, why? So at that point, I spoke the bit of French that I knew. And that was when other people came and said, okay, please allow her, And I went. So I can relate with that. Sometimes you don't need to exhibit your affluence, to even be stereotyped. But Honorable Abike Dabiri, Kingsley talked about the issue of territorial, laws. Nigeria not, of course, having the right to, enforce her laws on crimes committed in another country. That leads me to my next question. What kind of protection should a nation, extend to her citizens abroad?
Well, first thing is, when these things happen, you have to demand justice. And that is exactly what we're doing. And there are many cases that have not been resolved. So we're demanding just, like I told you about Ghana, they arrested 2 of the people involved, and we don't expect that to happen again. If it happens, we're going to demand justice. But you see, this issue of reciprocity is fine, but I mean, it's at the level of maybe a mob action. They're angry. Oh, you Nigerians, you brought kidnapping to Ghana. And it's something new to them. But we made it clear to them that it is your people that decided to, the kingpin was actually a Ghanaian. So what we demand, like you said, we cannot go there and say, you're lost. And then, like in the French-speaking countries, like in Togo, if they arrest you for something, they have their laws. They keep you there for a long time before even trying you. It is the law of their own country. So I think the first thing for us is, number one, Nigerians, let's behave ourselves wherever we find ourselves. I think that's the first thing, Just don't, don't be in your face kind of thing. For instance, in South Africa, we went quietly to an area, I think it's called Hebra or something, where it's the headquarters of drug and all that. And we hid quietly somewhere. My sister was embarrassed at what I saw myself. With loud cars, with a lot of music. And, there were these things you had, let me say the Chinese, they were very quiet. And they were committing perhaps worse crimes than the Nigerians in those areas. So first thing for us is the commission will be embarking on a massive awareness campaign. Look, if you commit a crime, you have to face the laws of that country. But what I'm insisting on is that you don't punish somebody for an offense he or she did not commit. Like what happened to the case of Zainab Aliyu. We're emphatic, and the president intervened and said, no, justice must be done. And like I told you, there are some cases like that we'll be looking at in various prisons of Nigerians whose offenses are only minor. But the key thing is, even as Nigerians ourselves do not let us obey the laws of other countries, they will be showcasing more of Nigerian success stories. I just came back from Washington, where the doctors had a major conference, Nigerian physicians in America. We have about 5,000 doctors. You enter that hall and you're so proud to be a Nigerian. And we meet a lot of these people when President Buhari engages Nigerians abroad. Even he says, oh, this makes me happy. So, and I keep emphasizing that when 1 or 2 commits a crime, even we should not accept that stereotype. I was searched when I was on a trip, but I wasn't angry. You're doing your job. Fine, it's a green passport. You took me aside. It's okay. As long as I'm not guilty of anything. So our key thing is no Nigerian should pay for a crime he or she did not commit. And we're going to emphasize that. And then when you treat us unjustly, we're going to demand justice. Reciprocity, when someone says South Africa closed their shops, that shouldn't be what should happen now. Because it's not the government that is fighting you. It's about that we have to embark on massive awareness programs, like working with the Nigerian community in South Africa. And like Adetola said, the Nigerian community in those countries have a major role to play. You know these people. These people spoiling our name in South Africa, but they're all keeping quiet. When you say you know them, go to the police and report them now. But they know, he said it, that they know them. But President Buhari will not live here to go and arrest those Nigerians there. But if you know them, why are you encouraging them? So that makes the issue of South Africa even more difficult. Where you have the last few killings, I have to stress, has been Nigerians killing Nigerians.
He said the Ghanaian government has zero tolerance on on
How many
killing of
Ghanaians have killed Ghanaians in South Africa? I do not want to, what we do with our people, we keep telling them, just behave yourselves. But that has to stop. It's making it more difficult for the mission in South Africa. So what the mission is now saying is that, okay, a Nigerian killed a Nigerian, arrest that person. Just demand justice, whoever did it. So that has to be done. But what we demand for is justice. Like there are some cases we're looking into now, and we're making tremendous progress. And then the issue of figures, Your Excellency, I think sometimes those figures are exaggerated. Like in China, when we went there, the number of Nigerians in Chinese prisons, people were saying, you said 8,000, they were about 500 and something. It's good, it's still high, but it's not as high as 8,000 and all that. And what we'll be doing, we're going to compute, the actual figures and make it available to Mr. President. And then also the fact that, like I said, if you commit a crime, pay for it, but do not generalize and do not say every Nigerian is committing a crime. And wherever we go, we make it clear to them, 419 does not have a Nigerian name. Drug peddling does not have a Nigerian address. We are very hardworking people, intelligent people. But what we're saying is that when we say we are so hardworking, so intelligent, we have our human resources, our greatest asset, what the Commission will be doing is how do we make those beneficial to Nigeria. So engaging Nigerians abroad to work along with their counterparts here for a greater country. So we're now talking about brain circulation. We've been talking about brain gain, brain drain. Now, brain circulation, how do you bring those enormous resources for the growth and benefit of your country? And I tell you, it's been overwhelmingly positive. It's like every Nigerian abroad wants to do something back home, but they don't know how. So the Commission provides that platform. And I will keep stressing the good in us. The little bad in us will deal with them, but we also should tell ourselves the home truth. If the Nigerian community in South Africa, they know these people committing a crime, why are you protecting them? If you come out and say no, okay, for instance, the Dubai case, where we saw them on CCTV going to rob, we got up and condemned it and said it is an embarrassment to the country with the names of the people who committed the crime. Now, Dubai saw that Nigeria will not accept that kind of thing. Now the death sentence has been commuted to life imprisonment.
Is there a sense, I'm sorry, Kingsley, is there a sense in which our missions have been issued before now have also helped to fuel what is happening now, either by way of not, responding to their, responsibilities?
Well, there might be some cases like that, but like I said, we should be specific about it. Now, the case of South Africa, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs with the former Minister of Interior went to South Africa, met their counterparts there, and came up with an early warning signal. But I've said it, and that the early warning signal needs to be strengthened because it's not working. So I think one of the things we need to do as a country is strengthen that early warning signal along with South Africa and get results. So that's the case of South Africa. But again,
Ghana?
No, Ghana. The Ghana issue, as of now, has been resolved. 400 shops were closed. They're claiming some law, that is not favorable to foreigners. But those shops have been reopened. The last one, those shops have been reopened, and there's police protection, in those markets where Nigerians are. But if it happens again, we'll take it. We've told Ghana we're not going to accept that. And even the president of Ghana, like I said, apologized to Mr. President and ordered immediate reopening. You see, there should be awareness amongst people to people. That is very key. And we'll be doing that along with our communities in Ghana, in other places, and particularly in South Africa. And I really have to commend even Nigerians in South Africa. Some go to these homes, try to solve problems, help out the widows, which we'll be engaging with them. And I believe that we're making steady progress in this regard. And we're going to ensure that the Commission focuses on specific cases and ensures that they are resolved along with our embassies.
All right, Honorable Abike, thank you very much there. I would just say one of the points that you raised in terms of the examples you were giving, we're talking about Hebrew, one of the neighborhoods now run down in South Africa. In Johannesburg, 30 years ago, that's in the late 80s and up until around about 1994. That was a plush middle-class neighborhood. Unfortunately, it's all run down. I'm sure Litola would know that, depending on how long he has stayed in South Africa. Again, let's bring in Ambassador Danladi. Ambassador Danladi, the question of Nigerians and the kind of trouble some of them get involved in, and then the way the host communities then respond to all of this, raises correspondingly the task that the consular and diplomatic services would offer. Some Nigerians complain that they don't get adequate service, as it were, from Nigerian missions. In most cases, they are left on their own, and that the Nigerian missions, do not appear to serve their interests. So,
well, I think I will start first of all by urging that we should have correct data of Nigerians that are in prison, those that are on death row, because the figures I've given is a figure quoted by the civil society organization, but the Ministry of Foreign Affairs just last year released its own figure. It says about 16,000 Nigerians are in prison nationwide and worldwide, and that with about 800 that actually are awaiting death penalties, and 410 have been sentenced, they are on death row. So that is the figure. And I think now that we have the Diaspora Commission, I believe they will be able to figure out how to have correct data and information about Nigerians. Now, having said that, I think the issue of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually needs to fashion out a new strategy of protecting the lives of Nigerians that live abroad, work, and engage in legitimate businesses. Our missions really have to be regingered. They need to raise up to the occasion, because we have this, we're a treaty to this consular services, and it is the responsibility of every mission to ensure that they pay visits to prisons, they give attention to Nigerians in diaspora, and report back to the headquarters. In fact, the NDLE law states clearly that Nigerian missions are supposed to inform the NDLE about the number of people that are engaged or have been arrested on drug-related charges. I believe if you investigate further, perhaps that has not been done. Secondly,
what was it been done during your time, your period?
Well, we tried to do that. We had, in fact, we have an agreement that has been signed on the control of illicit drug and trafficking between Nigeria and Pakistan, and that was signed in 2015, when, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we brought the president of Pakistan to Nigeria. Unfortunately, I don't think that is being implemented. You see, we have dozens of agreements, bilateral agreements, multilateral agreements, that deals with this issue. We have agreements on prisoner transfer, for example, in place. We also have as I said, we are also a treaty to the treaty. Yes. Now, the prisoner transfer issue, we could use that to address the inhuman conditions that Nigerians are undergoing in prisons, say in China. And I believe that now that we have the Diaspora Commission, perhaps they will look into that to ensure that at least Nigerians in prisons, they are still Nigerians, and it only diminishes our dignity and if we abandon them. So I believe that going forward, something will be done in that regard. Now, let me just say this. Yeah. You see, the Nigerian missions abroad have a great role to change the perception of Nigerians. They should engage the business community in their host countries, government officials, civil society organizations, and the media. Little money must be budgeted to propagate, to sell the good part of Nigeria. This is a country that has abundant, rich mineral resources. When you talk about gas, Nigeria has 187 trillion cubic feet of gas that can fuel the whole of the African continent. We are blessed, we're a blessed country. Of course, naturally there could be some envious disposition, all right, that could result to anger and aggression against Nigerians. But that's not to say that our missions should not abdicate from the responsibility of marketing and selling Nigeria. The president has done it. He has turned around the negative perception about the corrupt indices of Nigeria. The Transparency International have said that Nigeria's corruption level has dropped for the first time in Nigeria. Its media, the international community are now aware that former governors, former judges, former ministers have been tried. Some governors are already in prison. This is the first time that such steps have been taken to address the issue of corruption. And going forward, the mission must be most engaged with their host communities to market Nigeria.
Okay, let me ask you, because the duties and responsibilities of missions and diplomats are, of course, explicitly, stated in the laws, international laws and foreign policies of countries. Now, would it be that diplomats, or those sent, abroad, do not really understand, what their responsibilities are to citizens other than to their home countries?
I think to a large extent there's the need for training and retraining. This issue of patriotism and commitment must be instilled in not only our diplomats but in Nigerians. When you look at the foreign policy thrust of government, which is stated in the Constitution, right? The promotion of our national interest, promoting reliant economy, and now I think the government has adopted this economic diplomacy and citizenship diplomacy. We expect that our missions will mobilize, ginger, bring in trade delegations, all right? And for you to do that, you have to market your country. You have to sell your country. There's no way business moguls, business entrepreneurs will leave their country and follow you to Nigeria, except you market and sell Nigeria. And you can see that over the past few months or years, hardly you hear or see through the news media our missions bringing in trade delegations. That's not to say that there has not been an improvement in our foreign direct investment. I think the first quarter of 2019, we had about almost $410 million. But we can do much more than that, considering the huge potential that we have. So, in resume, our missions are supposed to be the face of our country. They are supposed to sell Nigeria. They are supposed to debunk the negative narratives about Nigeria. They are supposed to intervene, provide legal services. And now that we have the Diaspora Commission, I just hope that they will have their representative in some of these missions, specifically dealing with Nigeria. And in every country you go, there's a Nigerian community. So if you engage with the Nigerian community, you should be able to identify some of these problems, and you should be able to deal with some of these problems. I think, finally, I would like to say this, that there's the need to raise a high-powered interagency delegation. The Diaspora Commission should be involved, Minister of Foreign Affairs, in fact, members of the National Assembly, to visit countries and to assess the condition of our prisoners, Nigerians in prison. This is very critical, and it's key. We have the right to do that based on the Vienna Convention.
All right. Ambassador Donladi, thank you very much. On the issue of marketing Nigeria, we used to have information officers who were attached, information attaches as they were called, to some of the missions. But after a while it was stopped, and I think there were proposals to revive them. And now that brand marketing is a hot item, and you have professionals in that area. That's a subject that ordinarily should be revisited. But there is a particular aspect of the question which you have not quite addressed, and that is the maltreatment of Nigerians by Nigerian diplomats themselves, the way they respond. There was a report a couple of weeks ago of that Nigerian, the Nigerian who went to the Nigerian mission in London and vandalized vehicles. Well, there are other reports indicating that perhaps, he probably has some mental challenges. But to process a passport, it is a pain wherever you are. There was a video that went viral some years ago of some Nigerian students who were in Ottawa and they were weeping over the way their cases were handled. Some of them flew in, spent $1,000 Canadian. They didn't get the treatment that they required. And you find these reports. Some decent Nigerians will tell you that they will not visit any Nigerian mission. They just go quietly, do their business, and then go home, because they say that the Nigerian diplomats, in most cases, are first for themselves and then senior government officials or those who can do them favors. Precisely.
I think you are absolutely correct. My first experience when I was in Pakistan was when I had meeting with the Nigerian diaspora. And I was so shocked that none of them, for so many years, have ever had the opportunity to visit the residence of the ambassador. And I invited them for a lunch, and I was surprised that they are saying this is the first time. So I think this empathy has to be there. Again, it has to do with this issue of training. As I've said, there's a need for training and retraining of our diplomats, especially political ambassadors. When they go, they should not become, there's this disconnect. And if the ambassadors are not in touch with the Nigerian communities, they are not in touch with the level of service delivery that the mission gives, then of course there will be disgruntlement and there will be disenchantment. I totally agree with you that the attitude of some of our diplomats is that of a laissez-faire. They have this laissez-faire approach to issues of consular services. And it is the onus of the ambassador to ensure that diplomats, both home-based and local staff, accord Nigerians the respect that they deserve. They should be also, the Minister of Foreign Affairs should also from time to time put in place mechanism for checks and balances. You see, periodically, quarterly, reports should be submitted. We should be able to assess what our missions are doing. And that is what we will expect from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. They should put in place performance evaluation system to evaluate how our missions are delivering services. What's the level of image laundering that the mission has embarked upon? How many tour delegations have they done? For example, there is no way you can trash out issues with another country in the absence of a joint ministerial commission meeting. Now, for so many years, few missions have succeeded in promoting joint ministerial meeting between their host country and Nigeria. In some countries, they have even forgotten about that. For example, prior to my arrival, 22 years, there was no joint ministerial commission meeting that took place between Nigeria and Pakistan. 22 years.
Who was supposed to initiate it?
The mission is supposed to initiate that and to follow it up. But we were able to do it. And since we did it in 2014, expectedly there was supposed to be another one after every 2 years. It's yet to take place.
Okay, Ambassador Danladi, please let's put you on hold for a moment and take a short break. When we come back, of course, we'll look at more issues. This is Good Morning Nigeria. We'll be right back.
Our country is filled with people with different skills, talents, and passion to succeed. And like the game football, we all have a position to play. Some save the day. They put themselves on the line for the others. They are the goalkeepers. Some are in charge of protection. They keep the line safe from attackers. They are the defenders. The midfielders are the ones who bring us together. They also show support and point other players in the right direction. And the strikers? They are the go-getters. They break barriers and steal the show. As a team, we are unstoppable. For this country to succeed, we must play as Nigeria united.
Do you desire to master new techniques and technologies of camera operations? Then you must attend NTA TV College Special 4-week intensive course.
Please.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and we're looking at the maltreatment and alleged maltreatment of Nigerians in diaspora, and we have a very robust guest representation. Kingsley, let me again, Madu, we'll come to you to again speak to the
I just wonder, we have a number of tweets.
Okay.
I think perhaps just, let's start off with the tweets.
Okay, Kingsley.
So that we can get our viewers contributed. They have sent in their reactions. Well, our Twitter handle at NTA GMN. Festus Akimboyewa, the many challenges Nigerians in diaspora face can be mitigated if our embassies and high commissions are well staffed and funded to provide effective and responsive consular services to diaspora Nigerians.
Mike, I have got tweets. Frankly speaking, Nigeria is a very sweet country to live in. If not because of circumstance, no Nigerian would like to live outside. Are we talking about documented or undocumented diasporans, by the way? Travails of undocumented Nigerians in foreign countries are monumental. The jobs they do are not even odd, but what is called under-the-table jobs, for example, of course, it gives an example in the U.S., they are dehumanized and exposed to all risks by the employers.
Law Alpha say, now the only way to stop the mass exodus of Nigerians and their attendant travels inherent is to make home conducive, creation of jobs, security of lives and property, and creating opportunities for all classes of people. This beautiful country needs divine intervention because our challenges are many and most of the problems still need solutions.
And this is Ayotola Tawhid Adeni says the government should provide enabling environment for their citizens so that looking for greener pasture abroad will be unnecessary. If corruption is out of Nigeria, this country will be like a paradise. It will be unwise to leave paradise and be looking elsewhere.
Comrade Ngala, there is no place like home. Let them come back and serve their fatherland. By the way, what took them there?
And this is from Elijah Musa Mohammed Adeja. Nigeria is wealthier than any other country, and of course he mentioned some countries here, but we want to feel like our people, which can't be. Oh, we want to feel like other people, which can't be. Let's change our behavior and attitude and enjoy our resources like other countries.
Chris Simeon, millions of Nigerians are still looking for ways to leave this country. It doesn't matter what they've gone through in a foreign lands. Let's fix Nigeria.
And engineer Seidu tweets, more needs to be done in our home continent, that's Africa, as a larger percentage of maltreatment of Nigerians happen here.
Sani Michael Amakoji, one of our regulars, there are a lot of Nigerians going through hell in diaspora. But because they have nothing to fall back on, they decide to endure the untold hardship. Many of them are homeless in prime comfort. Home in New York doing nothing. To these people, to have these people back, government should revive the economy.
Cecilia Okoroma tweets, who wants his or our country to be overtaken by foreigners? Most Nigerians in diaspora violate laws of host countries with impunity.
Let's go. We already took one by Chris Simeon, so let's go to Shakiru. But some well-educated Nigerians are respected and doing their legitimate work in peace in other countries. Those who are humble, with legitimate papers, and more importantly, worship Almighty God and obey the laws of the land, will be saved.
And this is Oti Zokpea tweets. In the U.S., for instance, it says, Tableview Police Station will not certify a Nigerian passport for no reason. Extending your papers is a problem if you hold a Nigerian passport. No investigation if a Nigerian is killed there. Life of a Nigerian here is meaningless.
Now, Taye Ogunshola tweets, Nigerian consulates are the most unreliable. I was denied help during my tribulations in the United Kingdom. That's in 2005. I hope things change for the better for the Nigerian diasporans.
All right, and Oti again, Zokpea tweets, South Africa in general sees Cameroonians, Ghanaians, Zimbabweans, and many others as Nigerians. So when a Cameroonian deals on drugs, they say he's a Nigerian. Goodwood, Paro, and many suburbs of Cape Town are full of Cameroonians. But when the crime happens there, they call it a Nigerian.
Cecilia Okoroma, the make it quick syndrome of Nigerians is not the way of life abroad. And that is a big issue. The high rate of prostitution is another huge nuisance.
Okay, and Cecilia again ends her tweet by saying, if you are a student, trader, visitor, obey the laws of the land of your host countries so you don't run into trouble. Okay, thank you for all your tweets, and let's quickly get on Honorable Abike.
I'm just wondering, just before Honorable Abike comes in, I have a question for Madu Obiora, and then also Adetola might take this up. Is there some mental disposition among some Nigerians that when you do things here, you can get away with it, so you go outside and then you can also get away with it?
Thank you. Let me correct the name. It's Oduma, not Madu. Obiora. Oduma.
Oduma?
Yes, Obiora.
Not Madu?
No.
So how do they get Madu? Madu means person.
Yes.
What does Oduma mean? Oduma in my place means...
Just a name.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. So my question, please.
Okay. There's nothing like when you do something in Nigeria, you violate the law, you get away with it. And when you go there, you violate their law, you get away with it. Like, we demand justice when Nigerians are maltreated abroad. But at the same time, we have Nigerians who are into various crimes in their countries, and we also try to educate Nigerians. We also try to sensitize through the missions, and we are happy we now have a NITCOM, Diaspora Commission, to address those issues, because Nigerians should abide by the extant laws of the host countries. So when we get into trouble, we do things that are not good, into crimes, you face the law, just like in Nigeria here. When you violate the law, you have to face
I'm sorry.
the law.
See, the first thing is doesn't have to do with violation of laws. When laws are made, they are in the intention of Parliament is that those laws will be obeyed. Just being law-abiding gets you out of trouble. But, you know, when you have a traffic light, you have red, amber, and green. A light is red, and then if you are in this environment, the driver shoots past. So I'm just saying, that mentality to think that you can do this thing and get away with the next thing, so I beg, officer, sorry, me no verse. When you are outside, officer not here, I beg go.
It's difficult to adjust.
So why is
the problem with a place like Togo,
yes,
where you have the laws are so different.
Yes.
If they catch you doing anything, you are in jail. So you are even guilty before you are proven innocent. So once they catch you, they lock you up. And it's going to take years to get you out. In as much as the embassy has intervened, it's like, this is our law. So the first thing is, why do you even commit that crime in the first place? So the laws vary. And I like what you said, just obey the laws of other countries. And the rest, but where there's a problem is if you're being punished for what you didn't do. So I just sorry, but I agree with you.
Kingsley is asking, Oduma. Is there a possibility that the mentality we have here, of course, for instance, like you said, breaking traffic lights, that you go to other countries, you find it difficult to adjust, you know, you carry that mentality to that country and it gets you into trouble?
Yes. There is a possibility of that, because we're used to that here in Nigeria. So when we travel abroad, we go by the same way we live here in Nigeria.
You face the consequences. You face the consequences, unfortunately. Yeah. Obiora, sorry because we are getting pressed for time now. Adetola Olubajo, this is an issue you would like to respond to. And while responding to that, this is say, sometimes, you know, the difficulty of making a mental shift. To say, oh, look, this is a new environment, behave like a Roman, because this time you are in Rome.
Okay, I lost the better part of it because of the audio.
Okay, but the question is, at home, there is a tendency for us to regard the rule of law observe the rule of law more in the breach. Simple traffic lights, for instance, obeying simple traffic rules. And when some persons travel, they have a carryover, as it were, of that seeming lawlessness. And the law is no respecter of persons wherever they are. Is that a challenge for Nigerians? And if so, how might there be a rapid reorientation to say this is a new milieu and so you have to behave yourself, otherwise, you know, the law comes knocking at your door?
Yes, it's actually part of the factor that is contributing to some of these ill treatments, because our people, not everybody, there are quite a number of them that doesn't understand how to behave when you are outside your home. Because of this, we are used to this kind of behavior that you can get away with anything. And so that calls to question the mental health of some of our people, and quite a number of people that are not literate also. They are contributing throwing things out of their windows, even easing themselves on the road and so on. So they are made to pay money, some of them fined, some of them jailed. But I believe that the community has to come into that, and then the mission also needs to have a desk wherein people will be oriented, because the orientation and integration part of the Nigerians that are moving to diaspora is not there as we speak. Because if there is an orientation and an integration desk wherein you can actually get an handbook or how to behave and all these things, it will help. And then the community where we belong to, like Nigerian Union, we have engaged in quite a number of social cohesion as well as the orientation program. For example, the BOT secretary of our organization just sponsored a video of how you should behave when you meet a police. It's actually on YouTube as we speak. And that is part of our own contribution to reorientate our people, that you have to abide by the law. When you are living in a complex, you cannot put a speaker out and be making noise. You are disturbing the order and the law of that complex and the country, which is noise pollution. But in Nigeria, if I'm in my compound, like now, I can put my speaker out and then do whatever I like. So, like I said, we have to behave like a Roman when we are in Rome. We need to learn the things that we are not doing right, because we in diaspora should be a kind of a mirror. We are in a society where the law works, where things work better. So we should be a mirror to those who are at home and not importing that bad habit to Nigeria, from Nigeria.
All right, Adetola Olubajo, thank you very much. You joined us via Skype from Lagos. But again, in summary of all what we've been saying, of course, Nigerians already, bear the toga of pride. So what we're saying is that comport yourself in the most orderly and humble manner. And secondly, which is most important, obey the laws of your land. But from government, Honorable Abike, you were quoted to have said, we're also going to be emphasizing that the life of one Nigerian means a lot to us anywhere in the world. Those were your words. So within that context, how have we addressed the issue of the Nigerian professor in Ghana whose appointment was terminated?
Well, the case of the Nigerian professor was quite unfortunate. He was having a private conversation with members of the Nigerian community. It wasn't a media thing. Somebody recorded it and released that recording when there was tension between Nigerian traders in Ghana and this issue of kidnapping. And I'm sure the person who really had the thing was probably a Nigerian, because it was a Nigerian community thing. But however, the matter is being resolved and is going to be resolved. The professor is actually on sabbatical. He works at University of Lagos, so I'm sure subsequently he will return to UNILAG, but he should be paid his entitlements. And he should not be dismissed just anyhow. He should get a proper letter of retirement because he was actually dismissed. So they should write him properly to disengage and then pay him what they owe him. So that was an unfortunate incident. And they have a law that says I was inciting Ghanaians or something, which they said they were going to use against him. But it's being resolved.
I'm sorry, we also have a law like that here in our criminal laws.
And so use your laws.
Against public incitement.
Well, but it's being resolved. The Ghanaian High Commissioner, our Ghanaian ambassador in Ghana on the matter, and I'm sure it will be resolved properly. It's not going to be there forever. It's supposed to come back anyway. So, but pay him his entitlements and give him a proper letter of
retirement,
disengagement. Yes.
So, how are you going to implement the, of course, emphasizing that the life of one Nigerian means a lot to us anywhere in the world? How are you going to?
As the cases come, we work with the missions. And there are many cases you don't even hear in the media. As the cases come, we work with the missions. And there are few, they range from, somebody duped. So as the cases come, some we cannot resolve because they are unresolvable. Like somebody who said, please, 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 I'm in a prison in China. I want to go to another prison because it's better off there. We can't do such things. But then we're going to have a line of communication. We're going to have helplines for Nigerians in the diaspora. Because communication is key. Some of these issues can be solved with communication. Helplines, okay, let's know the problem. And most of the time, it's not even a problem. It's about, this is who I am. I want to invest in my country. So we have helplines. When they're ready, we'll introduce them to the public. Communication is key. We'll be working a lot with the missions to ensure that, sometimes I agree with the ambassador, sometimes attitude matters. I mean, there was a case in China where a Nigerian student was killed. All the consular officer needed to do was just come out to them and say, listen, we don't have money, but we support, something like that. So we'll be working a lot, but as these cases come, we try to deal with them. It's huge and all that, but the Diaspora Commission will do everything to ensure that, as President Buhari directed us, Every Nigerian must be protected. No Nigerian should pay for a crime he or she did not commit. We'll also focus on a few things: diaspora voting, diaspora investments, and quite a lot.
Brain circulation.
Brain circulation.
As you mentioned earlier, Honorable Abike Dabiri Arewa, Chairman and CEO of the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, would like to thank you for being part of our conversation this morning.
Thank you. Chairman.
Chairman. Or chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. We'd like to thank you for being part of our conversation this morning. And by the way, private conversation doesn't amount to incitement of the public. So that's a significant difference in what played out in the professor's case in Ghana. If we're having a private conversation, it's a different thing.
But somebody revealed it. Somebody.
No, but he didn't reveal it.
No, that's why I said somebody betrayed him.
Yeah, but
somebody betrayed him.
Yeah, the person that betrayed him, of course, is the one that has escalated all of this. Private conversations will not amount to that, but of course you could have cases of defamation arising from that. Our deep appreciation also to Ambassador Dauda Danladi, Nigeria's former High Commissioner to Pakistan, with concurrent accreditation to Afghanistan and the Maldives. Stand. Thank you for being with us on the program this morning. Oduba Obiora is a Nigerian who is based in Cote d'Ivoire. We'd like to appreciate your being with us on the program today. And also earlier, my colleague Claire signed off Adetola Olubajo, who is a Nigerian. He joined us. All right, he's still on the screen. It's on the right side there of the split screen. He's a Nigerian who is based in South Africa. He joined us via Skype from Lagos. Adetola, thanks a lot for your contribution to our discussion this morning. Okay, so let's go over very quickly to our sports desk.
Mauritania played out a boring 0-0 draw with Tunisia to end their AFCON debut in the